Hello and welcome to The Content Bite, a podcast for freelancers who use their words to make money. I'm Rachel Smith, a freelance journalist, copywriter and content producer. I'm also the founder of Rachel's List, a jobs board and community for Australian writers and other creatives.
And I'm Lynn Testoni. I'm a journalist and content writer as well. Rachel and I are your weekly co-hosts, and every week we bring you all kinds of tips, tricks and some fabulous guests to help you make the most of your freelance business. So what we have learned since doing this podcast is that successful freelancers have a business mindset and need to manage their finances. It sounds boring, but it's actually true, isn't it?
Actually not that boring. Like if you're with the right program, that is.
True. And the trouble with most financial software is that it's built for larger businesses, not sole trader businesses like us. So you often end up paying for lots of unnecessary features you never use, such as payroll. But our sponsor Rounded has software designed for freelancers, and it's super easy.
So easy and actually not boring. It actually becomes quite fun to reconcile.
The gamification, as you say.
Yeah, for sure. So good. Well, Rounded is really an all-in-one tool, and as part of the sponsorship, we've organised a saving of another 20% on any annual subscription. If you're a gold member of Rachel's List, that can really save you a chunk of change every year.
Absolutely. So good.
Hi, Lynn. How are you going?
I'm so good. I'm good. I'm just back from Pilates, so I'm always like stronger and fitter and feeling good. So that's good.
Yes, I'm getting back into my exercise as well. It's nice to be, I think this is my second week back. Holiday is a dim memory, but I'm just taking on heaps of work. So that is really exciting because compared to this time last year, it was a bit quieter.
Yeah, I agree. 2025 has started out really strong for me. So lots of work and heaps of positive energy. I feel like everyone's back, exciting. And speaking of positive energy, I'm really excited about our guest this week. It's Carolyn Tate, someone we both know, and I'm really keen to hear her story and all about starting her agency. Shall I introduce her?
Yes, go for it.
Okay, Carolyn Tate is a former journalist turned agency founder who's on a mission to keep human element in content. I like that. After 20 plus years as a health and lifestyle journalist in mainstream Australian media, she now leads Stellar Content Agency, where she's built a thriving team of writers and content strategists. Her own bylines include The Guardian, Good Food, Women's Health, SBS, Body and Soul, Sunday Life, while her role as an editor with News Corp covered finance and women's news. She's also has a background in corporate communication strategy, where she's worked with government, corporate and not-for-profit clients. Since launching Stellar Content in 2023, Carolyn has focused on creating opportunities for writers who share her love of connecting people through words. Welcome, Carolyn.
Welcome.
So much. It's lovely to be here.
So good. I know you were freelancing for a while, Carolyn. So do you want to talk about your writing journey and how and why you started moving from freelancing to starting your agency?
Yeah, I my whole career is basically a patchwork of just opportunities and desperation.
They always are. They always are.
I came to writing a little bit late. I think I was about 30 when I actually started writing as a career. But I think that life experience before I had that has been really useful as well, And then I worked in corporate jobs and journalism. But then I had young kids. I was going through a divorce and I suddenly needed to make money while also being super flexible because I had a child who had special needs as well. And I needed to be able to leave work at a moment's notice because stuff kept happening. So freelancing was really my only option at that point. It was the only thing I knew how to do that I could do in my own time. And so it was always just a hustle. I was always just kind of making whatever work that I had to do. And then in 2022, I decided to start Stellar Content because I was always booked out. I was busy, I was exhausted, and I felt like everyone just says raise your rates like it's the easiest thing in the world. But I felt like I had just hit a ceiling and I couldn't go any further on my own. And I also felt like I had such a strong network of writers and talent that I knew that I knew were looking for work, and I was drowning in it. So I thought, what a great opportunity to connect people I know who are good with, the projects that are coming into my inbox.
One of the really amazing sessions that we had at the summit last year was with Sarah Howard and Brooke Hill, and they talked about starting their agencies and all the different ins and outs of doing that. So it's really an interesting kind of thought process, isn't it? And it's a brave one, like starting your own agency. How did you know that it was the right time, and how did you even start or go about it?
Oh, look, I think yeah, courage and stupidity look very similar, but sometimes I'm very much somebody who likes to not overthink things, jump in with both feet, kind of crap my ducks a little bit, and then find a way to make it work. So that's kind of what I did. And also at the same time, I am one of the many women who was perimenopausal and diagnosed with ADHD at the age of 48. And
Whammy right there.
yeah, yeah, it was cool. But what was, it's sort of, I mean, I'd always had it and I had systems that I worked around it. But once I started medication, I went, oh my God, I can have like one thought at a time and actually think about things outside of just what's happening today. And that sort of was what gave me the ability, I guess, and the confidence to make a plan and go, I can actually have different moving parts in my day and manage them in a way that I'd never been able to manage them before. So we can all thank dexamphetamines for stellar content, really.
That's so
Yeah, the best
interesting.
appetizer.
Rachel and I are big fans of Lindy Alexander, and I know you did a course. We were talking about you did a lovely video for her. Was that a part of it as well? When did you do Lindy's course?
Yeah, Lindy was a few years before that. Lindy is an angel on earth. I love Lindy.
She's
And
great.
she, I was confident in my ability to write good copy. That wasn't my problem, but my problem was thinking like a business. And that's the great gift that Lindy provides in the courses that she does, is that she gives you the framework and it takes, I think it took that, rejection is a terrible thing when you're a sensitive soul and you're sending things out and people are saying, no, thank you. And you're going, why do they hate me? But Lindy really helps you to put a framework around that and to go, this is just part of the business. And so you send things out, you get yeses or nos, you move on to the next thing. And also just providing that framework around how to run it as a business. And I think that was a big turning point for me from going from what I thought was maybe some kind of artist to a business person.
Yeah. And then you could take that forward into your own business, I guess, that sort of thinking.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just sort of extrapolated that from freelancing then to, I use a lot of the same systems that Lindy taught me then. I'm still using them now. Yeah. I think of her fondly often.
Cool.
So what kind of model did you decide on? Because there's lots of different agency models. So what did you learn as you were going along, and what model did you think, well, this might work for me?
Great question. That makes it sound like I had one plan and I have just executed that plan. But it's a really interesting time to be an agency. And if I had known what was going to happen with AI and with everything else, I don't know that I would have done it the way that I did it. I started out with this dream of having this bustling agency full of creatives in a really cool, like arty space with lots of like hanging vines and
Surely a
breakout
sleeper
rooms. Of course. I mean, as if you wouldn't. But, our friend Sarah Howard, has this wonderful book coming out soon called Beyond Solo. And I was very lucky to be an early reader of that. And that really opened my eyes to the different business models that there are when you've kind of hit that ceiling and you want to do something different. And so I started with the idea that I would build that agency, but that has sort of shifted as I've gone along. I had a full-time employee until the end of last year who has moved on. And I've decided to not replace her in that same way. And I've always had writers are always contractors for me. And I hire them as I need them. But the admin and all that sort of thing I do hire. So I have an assistant, like an admin assistant that I have regularly. I'm in the middle of recruiting for like a marketing assistant. But the writers and things like that, I like to be really flexible and agile. So I keep that kind of, on the flow.
Yeah, contractors, freelancers.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I'm lucky enough to be, through groups like Rachel's List and other groups, I know lots of great writers. So great writers are never the problem. Although it is interesting, agency side, seeing, when you're a freelance writer and you're competing for jobs, you think everybody is really awesome. And it's really interesting to see it from the other side. The really simple things that freelance writers don't sometimes prioritize, like filing on time or good communication or following a brief. That's been really surprising
Prompt
for me.
invoicing is a common thing. Yeah, when you're chasing freelancers for invoices and you think, Oh, gosh, who would it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Interesting,
chase
isn't
them.
it?
They can invoice me if they want.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it?
I
Yeah.
still remember an editor saying to me, you don't really have to do a lot to get repeat work from an editor. Like, obviously, you have to be a great writer, but it's literally just following the brief.
Turning copy in on time.
Yeah. And also, something that my editors always love is I have this little thing at the bottom where I do info for subs. And it's just, everybody's name and number. If they came through a PR, the PR's name and number, my name and number, and every single source linked to within the, thing. And the amount of subs and editors that love that is amazing. And it's so basic. You don't
Yeah.
think of it.
And it takes no effort whatsoever. You've got that information there. It's nothing, right? But
Yeah.
it's those little touches that make a massive difference. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
And writing a headline. Didn't Carrie say at the first summit, if you're not going to bother writing a headline for your piece, you'll never get work, because it's
Yeah.
just, you're the one that knows it. You're the one that can pull a headline together or multiple headlines. And if you don't do it, editors just consider that really lazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a meta description, if it's going online, meta descriptions are great, all that sort of thing. Like, you can put an article into ChatGPT and say, give me a meta description, and it's usually fine.
Yeah.
Maybe shush it a little bit, but honestly, like that sort of stuff is so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes a difference, definitely. So how big a learning curve has the payroll things been, and going from that sole trader thing? I know, because I'm a company and I know some of the extra layers of due diligence and stuff. Has that been hard for you?
No, it's been really easy for my accountant.
But finding a good accountant is tricky sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have a good accountant that I found probably about 2 years ago through word of mouth. And I think that's been one of the greatest things that I have done, because I don't have to think about it. And, we meet once a quarter and we talk about what's going on and we look at all the reports, and, he tells me if I need to know anything. But apart from that, I leave it to him. And, like many of us writers, I'm sure, I'm not a numbers person. I like it presented to me in a way that is pretty and digestible. And if there can be pictures, that the more the better. But he doesn't do pictures. But but just being able to get a brief shot of where I'm at, and, being told what I need to do, that's it. I'm a big believer in playing to your strengths and, being in your zone of genius and letting other people do what they're good at.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
That takes maturity anyway. Maybe that's something you have to learn as an agency person anyway, where you're not doing everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, letting go of you can't do everything. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's hard to let go of things you're good at, I think.
Yes.
But it wasn't hard for me to let go of the numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we were talking a bit offline about, how it's been quite a busy start to the year for a lot of us. And obviously at this time of year, we might be coming back and thinking, oh gosh, I need to hustle. I need to get some new clients through the door. And how can I do that? Is that a different thought process as an agency owner compared to being a sole trader?
Not really. I think, like you guys, I think I've been really lucky to come back to a heaving inbox, and I already had I had January and most of February already booked out. But I'm flexible, right? So I can add more writers when I need to. So there's still things coming in. But I never forget how lucky I am to be in that situation, because I have lived many a January where I thought that I would never eat again. So it's wonderful to come back to that. And I've got people coming into me, all the time saying, can you help us? So yeah, I don't know what's going on out there. It's been such a strange market for the past, 12 to 18 months. And I know that there are people, in that feast or famine thing. And it's been strange, but we're definitely lucky that we're booked out. Our next sort of 3 to 6 months look good. And, all we can do is just keep moving forward and keep filling those schedules and see what happens next.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, because it'd be great to hear about your sort of favorite client finding strategies, because there is something wonderful coming back to a heaving inbox. Do you think that's things that is it word of mouth, or is it just takes impetus? Is there work you did in November, December to ensure that?
Well, anyone listening who's looking for a quick win is going to hate my answer, but it's just relationships. That's it. I mean, I think I'm finding more and more, and I think with AI being the way it is, everybody's socials are full. Everyone's like got socials coming, out everywhere. LinkedIn is just chock full of people with AI generated socials, and I'm not finding work that way. Most of my work is coming either through repeat business or word of mouth. And so it's just, I make sure no matter how busy I am that I'm out there still having coffees, having, Zooming with people I haven't seen for a while, doing all that stuff that in the old days, I think when I was freelancing, if I was busy, I wasn't doing that stuff because I just wanted to, get paid by the hour and do as much as I could. And now I'm able to step back a little bit and make sure that I keep doing that all the time. And so I do see the traction coming from that because I am constantly in contact with people, I think that really helps. Yeah. But it's not a quick win for sure, which is a massive bummer, I know.
I know. I think relationships are the key. I think
Yeah.
almost every person we've ever interviewed on this, when they talk about different mechanisms, even LinkedIn, it's about relationships, isn't it, Rach?
And also, like, I think, was it Ed who said, when you do stop marketing, and you just mentioned that, Carolyn, like you can get so busy that you just drop the ball on your marketing, but you might not see the effects of that for 6 months or something, but then suddenly you'll just hit a slow patch. It sounds like you don't have slow months and that sort of thing. But as an agency, I imagine that would really freak you out even more than a sole trader.
Yeah. And I had a little mini freak out in the middle of last year where I had just taken on my full-time employee, and I was feeling this pressure of I'm now responsible for somebody else's life. And we had a slow month, and I was like, that's okay, we can ride that out. And then the second slow month started, and I went, "Ugh." And I did apply for a couple of gigs through Rachel's list. And weirdly enough, I am still working with one of those clients now because it's really fun and I don't want to let it go. So it's kind of like a little thing I do on the side that I just enjoy for myself. And it's easy. Like they do all the prep work for it. I just write it and send it. And it's kind of, it's a reminder of how simple life was before. So I'm still doing that and I'm enjoying it. And as long as I'm enjoying it, I'll keep doing it. And as long as they're enjoying me as well. So it's kind of funny. I think that's a great lesson probably. And just maybe next time I'll hold my nerve and, make sure I just do all of the things that I know will fill the pipeline for the future. But of course, as I go along too, I think that'll probably happen less and less. Well, fingers crossed anyway.
Yeah. Is it like a sense of, as an agency, I really have to find retainer clients and pitch for those consistently, or is that part of your model?
It's definitely part of my model. I have several retainer clients, which is so great because it means that no matter what happens, my lights are on and my children have shoes. So I think I have 4 good solid retainer clients at the moment. And as long as I have them, I can pick and choose then who I'm working with outside of that. I have never successfully pitched for a retainer client. They have all come from people that I've already worked with who have said, hey, we've got this ongoing need. Can you help us?
Yeah.
I don't know how you pitch for retainer clients, but if someone can tell me, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's usually, in my experience, it's usually the relationships. You do some work for them and they say, we like you so much. How about we make this permanent sort of thing, isn't it? That's where I've found my retainer clients.
Yeah. I can't see another way. I just can't imagine a world where you'd cold call someone and say, hey, hire us for 2 days a week.
No, it kind of starts from every month they're throwing this amount of work at you. I've often bitten the bullet and said, do you want to turn this scope of work into a retainer arrangement? Because that means you're prioritized in my schedule.
Yeah. Nice line. I like that. And has that worked for you?
Yeah, that works. Yeah. It's funny because then you think, well, there's only one payment, that you've got me for that amount of time and that scope of work and stuff. So that has worked in the past. I've only got one retainer at the moment. And I think that's probably good because I know that I can then plug stuff around that and I like that.
Yeah. When you're one person, you don't want to have too many of them, I think, because it takes away the whole reason you freelance in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
You talked a bit about writing. Do you find that running the agency takes your time away from writing? Do you miss that? Or do you still do a bit?
Well, apart from the one that I'm still doing from last year, I think I feel like, I came from writing, education, human services, health, and I'm not sure there's many things I have left to say in those subjects that I haven't already said.
Yeah.
And as much as I enjoy it, I kind of feel like I'm happy to hand it over. And also I just like learning new things. So probably another ADHD trait. I like new shiny things. So
Yeah.
learning to run the business this way is great. The thing I've had to let go of is when writers write something differently from the way I would write it. I look at it and go, oh, I just want to get in there and
Mm.
but their stuff is just as good. It's just different. And so I mean, obviously I edit and I make sure, that it's the quality is there. But I think it's been a good time to let go and look up a little bit and see what else I can learn. And also I love working with good writers. It's wonderful to see different ways that people come at things. And I have some great writers on my books who, I don't know, I think you've got to hire people who you think are better than you too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about AI because I know you've mentioned it on LinkedIn before, and I know from like maybe it's the level I'm at, that my clients never mention it, don't ask me to use it, are very concerned with just using my brain and my skills and that sort of. That said, I do have it built into some of my workflows now because it does save heaps of time, but I tend to do the writing side myself. How do you guys approach that as an agency? Do you have an AI policy? Is this something all freelancers should be thinking about putting in place?
I think like you, it's in my workflow, but I don't use it to write. I think AI is a terrible writer. And even if it was a great writer, everybody else's copy already sounds like that. So the strength, I think, ignore AI at your peril, right? I mean, it's there, it's here, where people are using it. And I think the strength that we have as writers is that we can use it to, fill some gaps to either whether it's research or helping to create a framework or to sense check something. We can use that and then stand on top of that and, use our skills to make some great copy in probably a shorter amount of time with the hope that as freelancers we can make more money, right? But we'll see how that pans out. But, more and more the internet is just full of this homogenous content. And so I think that what people are going to be looking for more and more, and certainly the platform that we're building stellar content on, is the ability to speak human in a world full of robots, So I don't know if you've ever put these things into ChatGPT or whatever, but the amount of times that it starts a paragraph with, in a world where, or, all of these kind of very sort of grandiose statements that it starts.
Generic prose.
And it's so interesting because, I have writers writing for me and I have had writers turn in copy that is very clearly, AI generated. And I kind of think, why are you in this industry if that's the way that you're going to do it? I couldn't care less if you use AI to do whatever, but when you turn in copy, it needs to read like good copy.
Yeah.
I don't care how you make it. You could just pull words out of a hat and create great copy if you want, but if it reads like AI, it's terrible. I will rewrite it and then I will send it to the client and then I won't hire you again. I actually had a writer approach me recently with an email asking for work that was clearly written with ChatGPT. And I just kind of thought, if you can't even be bothered writing the email, we're probably not a good fit.
Yeah.
So I think it's just, I think it's great. It's so useful in lots of ways. What a great toy. And also what a great tool. But it's not us. It'll never be us. And that's the strength that we have because we are better equipped than most to take AI stuff and turn it into something amazing.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Talk to us a little bit about personal brand. How important has that been to you in growing the agency? Did you do a big rebrand? How did that part of it all come together?
I'd love to have a good answer to that. I think I did think about it a little bit, but really stellar content is just an extension of me. So I don't think I could make it work any other way. It would feel disingenuous. So I definitely did a branding session at the start. I remember very little about it and I probably don't use it as much as I should. I think most of the branding that goes out is really just me dressed up with the stellar content brand. And I'm trying to kind of step back a little bit from the two of us being interchangeable because I know, a lot of the work we still get is because people know me. And so it's just that I'm now in that transition of trying to build stellar content as the brand and we're a team. And that's sort of my next challenge, I guess, is maybe letting stellar content have a stronger brand and me stepping back. But at the moment, stellar content is me. I am stellar content. Yeah. We've never seen us in the same room at the same time.
Well, because the worry is, I guess, if it's so much tied with you that maybe clients might feel cheated if they get somebody in your team or a different writer when they're expecting Carolyn. Do you think that's it?
Yeah, that I think that's been my concern. Yeah, and
Mm.
definitely everything still crosses my desk before it goes back to a client. So my hands are all over it, but obviously as we grow, I'm going to need to build that team. And I think this year part of our growth strategy is to do more cold calling and approaches to clients that we think would fit quite well. And that, I think for that part, I am going to have some team members to get more involved in that early stage. So I have wonderful writers who are really great specialists in different fields. And I think bringing them in earlier is probably going to be helpful, and it will allow me to step back a little bit.
Mm.
So what
Yeah.
sort of marketing strategies do you use for the agency?
I feel like how much I'm laughing at this end of the podcast. I'm like, I don't really have a good answer for that. As far as marketing strategies go, as we've talked about, relationships are, front and center. And I think, I do have a LinkedIn presence, but it's really just there for people who have come into contact with me who are going to check out that I'm a real thing,
Yeah.
I have made contacts on there that will maybe turn into clients. It's that long burn, So I'm definitely active on there, and I go to a lot of networking events. I meet a lot of people. I very rarely hustle for work. I at this stage, I think it's much more just the soft relationship management stuff, keeping in touch with old clients, making sure they know I'm around. But the proactive marketing, I am finding less and less. The things that used to work don't work as much anymore. And I think part of that is AI, because there's just so much content. People are being bombarded with, content. So I think more and more it's that human side.
What are you planning to do when you hire your marketing assistant? Have you got what kind of you looking at for that role?
A lot of it is stuff that I do sporadically at the moment that I just want someone to do consistently. So it's keeping in touch with the old clients. It's, my EDMs are supposed to run regularly and they don't, because I'm busy doing other people's. And also those reach outs to, I have a retainer client in the aged care industry, and we're really well positioned to support other aged care clients as well. And we haven't reached out to them. It's a really obvious fit.
Yeah.
And just to help us make contact with those kinds of clients. Like if you've got one client in one area, there's no reason that you shouldn't be. They can see how well you're doing for that client.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't you also be working with the others? All of these things I would like to get into more, but I'm just too busy. So it would be nice to have someone whose job is just to reach out and start
some of the
those
legwork.
relationships. Yeah, do some of the leg, all that, because as you were saying before, Lynn, like you just need to be consistent, right? You need to keep turning up and doing it. You can't do it just when you've got time. So to have someone who will do that consistently for me, I think will be a really nice weight off my shoulders.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's the mix of work that you do? It sounds like you do a lot of copy, a lot of content like blog posts and things like that, and EDMs you mentioned.
Yeah, we do a lot of web copy, blog posts. I still write a bit for the media as well, corporate magazines and things like that, EDMs, social media. That's basically it. We do have other offerings, but I am more and more narrowing my focus to those things, because those are the things that I enjoy and that I'm good at and that I'm interested in. And I think also those are the areas where we can really benefit from having that human focus, that I think that I really strongly believe in, that human connection in this AI thing. So I think that's where I want to focus my attention.
Oh, interesting.
We love to ask all our guests about their favorite tech tips or digital tools. So what would you be lost without?
Oh gosh, I think Asana helps me to wrangle all my projects. So that's top one for me. And Slack helps me to communicate with my team and not drown in emails trying to find a conversation that I had 7 weeks ago. Zoom, of course, is everyone's favorite. And also, look, a good CRM is a wonderful thing. I currently have one that I don't love. So if anyone listening wants to tell me a good one, I'd love to hear about it. I paid someone a bucket load of money to set up a CRM for me, and she did a good job, but I can't figure out how to use it.
Ah.
That's the hard. I tell you, I don't use it anymore, but I did use Folk app, FOLK
Okay.
app. It's really user friendly, and it's got because you're kind of active on LinkedIn, it's got a little hook into LinkedIn so that you can save profiles from LinkedIn directly into the CRM.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's actually, I really liked it, but now I'm using Moxie because it's a project management tool for freelancers that also has a CRM built into it. So yeah.
Nice. There are so many options at the
Yeah.
moment. I think it can be really overwhelming. And I think I leapt on one option because I knew someone that could help me with it without
Yeah.
researching how user-friendly it was.
Yeah. So hard to keep on top of it as well and keep the groups all, I know. You're back.
And maybe my magical marketing assistant can wrangle that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure he or she will be fabulous at that.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about freelancers working with you and what sort of mistakes that freelancers make that you think that our listeners would really benefit from learning about?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, as I said before, I think it's really interesting to see it from the other side. And, you said, I think one of you said before, obviously you have to be a great writer. And I would say you have to be a good writer. You don't even need to be a great writer. If you're a good writer and you just answer emails promptly, if I send you, an email saying, hey, you're free to do this thing, answer me, within 24 hours, because otherwise I'll be worried that you can't do it and I'll give it to somebody else, Filing on time, telling me the day before you're supposed to file that you're not going to be able to make it is not enough time. Just being realistic, I think, about what you can and can't do. And I know, it's really hard. I know how hard it is as a freelancer. And I have a lot of empathy for the writers that work for me because I know what it's like to be in that situation. But saying yes to everything and then realizing that you can't deliver it is a really common thing that I see that drives me bananas. And I understand where it's coming from, but it really leaves me in a difficult position. So anybody that makes me work on the weekends because I'm, I don't want to leave a client in the lurch is not cool with me. I like my weekends. And as I said before, just don't email me with an AI generated email, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
What about people who might be listening and, might want to reach out to you? Are you always looking for good writers or have you got a bank now that's set for a while?
I have some good ones, but I'm always happy to hear from people if they think they might be a good fit for what we do. We work a lot in, as I said, health and education, human services, and a bit of tech as well, and also government. We've just very happily just cracked our first government contract, which is a big deal. That was our big goal last year. So we have a government retainer client now, which is cool. And, once you get in with government, it's a great thing. I have worked in government and I really, government writing is a particular skill that not everybody has. And it can be pretty boring if you're a journalist. It's really different. So, always on the lookout for good writers. I love having options. And when things get busy, especially, I'm always happy to branch out and try people. So, yeah, please get in touch. I'd be happy to hear from people.
Right. Well, let us know where you can be found and where the best place for people to contact you.
We are at stellarcontent.com.au. And if you want to get in touch about work, talent@stellarcontent.com.au is our email. And I'm on LinkedIn as well. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Yeah. But as I don't know if you guys saw, but I do have a doppelganger on LinkedIn called Carolyn Tate. So just make sure it's the right one.
We'll put the link to the right one in the show notes. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, this has been brilliant. Thank you so
good.
much, Carolyn, for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I was really happy to be here.
And that brings us to the end of the show. But thanks to everyone who's rejoining us in the new year. And thanks to all the listeners and to Carolyn, of course. So if you like the show, don't forget to leave a rating and review. We've got quite a few. We've got a lot of ratings these days, Rach. That's the joy of being around for so long. Yeah. I think so. There's lots of different platforms where you can find your podcast now too. So wherever you find it, put a review there.
Yes.
And we'll also have some show notes and some links to how to contact Carolyn.
That's right. And we will see you next week.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks again to our wonderful sponsors, Rounded, easy accounting and invoicing software that helps freelancers run their business with confidence.
And don't forget, if you're a gold member of Rachel's list, you can check your welcome emails for an exclusive discount code on the annual subscription rate. You can also find it in the private Facebook Gold group or just contact us at hello@rachelslist.com.au.